2024 විසර්ජන පනත් කෙටුම්පතෙහි කාර්ක සභා අවස්ථාවේදී අද දින 25/11/23 සෙනසුරාදා
කතා කරන්න ඉඩ අරින්න
විවාදයට ගැනෙන අමාත්‍යාංශ හා ඒවා යටතේ ඇති අනෙකුත් දෙපාර්තමේන්තු හා ආයතන වලින් අදාළ අංක 166 සහ 332 දරන වැය ශීර්ෂයන්ගෙන් සම්ප්‍රදානුකූලව එක් වැඩසටහන් සියලුම පුනරාවර්තන වියදම් හා මූලධන වියදම් රුපියල් 10කින් කපා හැරිය යුතුමයි මම යෝජනා කරමි. ගරු කතානායකතුමනි, අපගේ තරුණ ජීවන් තොණ්ඩමාන් අමාත්‍යතුමන් ගේ භාරයේ තිබෙන මෙම අමාත්‍යාංශයේ වැය ශීර්ෂය පිළිබඳව මුලින්ම කතා කිරීමට මට ලැබීම පිළිබඳව මම සතුටු වෙනවා. கௌரவ ஜீவன் தொண்டமான் அவர்கள் ஒரு இளம் அமைச்சராக இன்று பொறுப்படுத்திருக்கின்ற இந்த முக்கியமான அமைச்சில் கடந்த ஆட்சி காலத்திலே அமைச்சராக இருந்தவன் என்ற அடிப்படையிலும் அவருடைய பாட்டனார் தகப்பனாருக்கு பிற்பாடு இந்திய வம்சாவளி மலையக மக்களின் ஒரு இளம் தலைவராக மிக பல சுமைகளுடன் கூடிய ஒரு கிரீடத்தை அணிந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்ற ஒருவராக இருக்கின்ற அமைச்சர், அதிலும் தன்னுடைய மக்கள் இந்த நாட்டிற்கு மிக கஷ்டமான ஒரு சூழ்நிலையில் இந்தியாவிலிருந்து வந்து எங்களுடைய தேயிலை தோட்டங்களிலும் ஏனைய ஏற்றுமதி உற்பத்திகளிலும் தங்களுடைய வியர்வையை சிந்தி தொழில்பட ஆரம்பித்து 200 வருடங்கள் கடந்திருக்கின்ற ஒரு நிலையில் அதை இட்டு பலவிதமான செயல் திட்டங்களை அறிமுகப்படுத்துகின்ற ஒரு நல்ல நோக்கிலே அவர் சில செயல் திட்டங்களை ஆரம்பித்திருக்கிறார். அதற்கு அவருடைய எங்களுடைய பாராட்டுக்களை அவருக்கு நாங்கள் முதல் கண் செலுத்திக்கொள்ள விரும்புகிறோம். ඒ වගේම මෙම අමාත්‍යාංශය විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ රටේ අපිට දීර්ඝ ඉතිහාසයක් තිබෙනවා. අපේ බෞද්ධ ශිෂ්ටාචාරයට අනුකූලව වැවයි දාගබයි ගමයි පන්සලයි කියන සංකල්පයත් සමගත් ඒ වගේම වසර 2000කට වැඩි වාරි ශිෂ්ටාචාරයක් තිබෙන රටක අපි සැලසුම් ගතව අපේ ජනතාවට පානීය ජලය ලබා දීමේ ක්‍රියාදාමය හරියට කරාදයි කියන ප්‍රශ්නාර්ථයක් තිබෙනවා. විශාල ලෙස මේ අවස්ථාවේදී මේ රටේ ආර්ථිකය හැකිලීගෙන අවස්ථාවක විශාල ප්‍රාග්ධනයක් මේ ක්ෂේත්‍රයට වියදම් කිරීම එතරම් ලේසි පහසු කාර්යයක් නෙමෙයි. නමුත් පරිපාලනමය වශයෙන් දැනට නඩත්තු වෙන ජල සම්පාදන ක්‍රම පවා නඩත්තු කිරීමේදී කලින් අපි අනුගමනය කරපු ක්‍රියානාමයන් සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම කණපිට හරවමින් සමහර දේවල් සිදු වෙන අය කෙනෙක් පිළිබඳව මම කනගාටු වෙනවා. ජල සම්පාදන මණ්ඩලය ක්‍රියාත්මක වීම පිළිබඳව පනතක් තිබෙනවා. ඒ පනතේ පොදු කළමනාකාර තැනක් තිබෙනවා. General manager post is there, right? Now these are all very qualified engineers who hold these positions. Now what has happened is the chairman and the board of directors have virtually taken over all the powers of the general manager, right? The disciplinary matters, promotion issues, recruitment issues, all of which have to be, in the past, board takes a decision, but finally the general manager has to sign off. But now it has all the powers have been virtually appropriated by the board of directors against the provisions of the Act itself. Act gives certain powers to the general manager, and the officers who run because we have additional GMs, general managers, there are about several positions. Now there is an attempt to even suppress some of the positions and then bring other people onto those positions. There seems to be some unnecessary political interference. I know the young minister may not be aware. These things would have started even before he took over. The poor minister can't even appoint a chairman. This is his position, because everything is being controlled by other political parties, perhaps. That may be the reality in this government, because the credibility of the entire governing elite is virtually destroyed among the people, but then still they control too. They have virtual, absolute control. The new minister, I do not know whether he is approving of what is happening, but these things are totally in violation of the legislation that has set up the National Water Supply and Drainage Board, Mr. Minister. I think you will have to carefully look into this, because you are a new minister, but then you can't allow them to do something totally out of the legal authority that is bestowed on the general manager. General manager has a certain powers. Now, particularly the Vinaya Pilibandava, Usasvim Pilibandava, Bandava Genim Pilibandava. Me Podu Kalamanakaratuma Tina Aitia. සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම දැන් අධ්‍යක්ෂක මණ්ඩලය උදුරගෙන තිබෙනවා. ඉතින් මේ පිළිබඳව කල්පනා කරන්නයි කියලා මම ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා. ඉතින් ඒ වගේම දැන් now I think it is time that we look at. Now there has been an attempt to import transmission pipes, distribution pipes for almost 4,000 kilometers length, all of which is now lying idle in the Colombo port. It's strewn all over the place for the past several years. As the former government this government came to power, they went on a very ambitious program to have almost 78% coverage, water supply coverage for the entire country. Now this was it's a very impossible thing. Now for the past 70 years, we have been able to cover barely about 50% of the country. Now within 5 years, they were attempting to cover almost 24% more. 70 years, we were able to only cover about 50-odd% of the country's length and breadth by pipe-borne water supply. So there was this ambitious program. Samata Vatura Kiena, me Sankalpe Uda, Ekaparatama, අවුරුදු 70ක් තිස්සේ අපිට පුළුවන්කම ලැබුණේ 150ක් විතර මේ නල හරහා ජලය ලබා දීමේ ක්‍රියාදාමය කරන්න. නමුත් අවුරුදු 5කින් ඒක තවත් 125කින් වැඩි කරන්න අපි සැමට ජලය කියන මේ සංකල්පය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න යනවායි කියලා කිව්වා. ඒක සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම අසාර්ථක වෙලා තිබෙනවා. අසාර්ථක වුණා විතරක් නෙවෙයි, දැන් පයිප් එක ගොඩ ගැහිලා වරායේ සල්ලි ගෙවා ගන්න බෑ. හරි? ඔක්කොම ආනයන කරගත්තා. මේක පොඩ්ඩක් කල්පනාකාරීව. Now banks have refused to pay the LCs. Right? So now the demurrage is collecting. So if you take the demurrage, it will be several times more than the value of the pipes that are lying in the yards of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. So this is the extent to which the total inefficiency and this utter ambitious, unrealistic ambitious program has landed the country and the water board into a serious problem. So this has to be looked at. Of course, there was infilling program possible. There are certain excess capacities in our treatment plants. Maybe so. But then all of this could have been avoided if there had been some thought about the impossibility of such targets which they set up. Then it is also important for me to talk about some of the pending projects. Now, Paliyaru project. It is a project to have, you have to first put up a reservoir. Right? You have only allocated a meager sum of 250 million rupees. That's hardly enough to do anything. Leave alone doing a feasibility study, it may not suffice. Right? But then, now look at, we already have a problem with the Eranabadu tank. If you are going to supply water to the north, right, there had been problems with the Kilinochi farmers. We have had problems in the past. It's time that we think of some dedicated reservoirs for water supply in this country. After Kalatuava, Labugama, Ambatale, Castle, so many dedicated reservoirs have been created way back in the 50s, soon after independence. Ever since then, we didn't have dedicated reservoirs for water supply in this country. Only few years back, Peraru was in Vaunia, was set up as a dedicated reservoir. Because if you try to share with the irrigation purposes, we run into problems like we ran in the Eranamadu tank. We spent money and raised the capacity of the tank in order to supply water to the people in the Jaffna Peninsula, but the Kilinochi farmers, their own brothers, refused, saying that we need that water for our own cultivation purposes. So this landed us in a serious trouble. So therefore it's time that we think of some dedicated reservoirs. Now, two of those reservoirs is talked about is Vioya and Yatimahana reservoirs, which we have to set up. One for the northwestern and the other for the western province. Now, this Vioya and Yatimahana, we have been talking about it for several years now, but has still not been finalized, because we have to concentrate on them. But Colombo district is in a serious problem. Then learned speakers area, Matara, Hambantota, those areas, Jin Nilwala project, right? There had been various issues about corruption, various things. Recently we had a problem in Lavana Badake Prasne, Matare, Prasnat. Mandana make me Takshanikava, Hari Danumaking, Megana Kalpana Karala, Me Chodana, Karnwada, and Adakineka, are Moya Kata Prasnat Tibinotana. I think a Prasne Tamai in the Tamai, Eveli, Mangala Samari Amatituman. හිටිද්දී එතුමන් මුදල් අමාත්‍යවරයා හැටියට මේ ව්‍යාපෘතිය සකස් කරලා අපිට ඉවර කරන්න අපි උත්සාහයක් කළේ. නමුත් දැන් ඒ ගැනත් දැන් නැවත පරීක්ෂණයක් කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා ඒක කඩන්න ඕනේ කියන උත්සාහයක් ඔතන තිබෙනවා. නමුත් we can't just go on looking for these plaster solutions to very serious problems. Similarly, we had a problem even in the Kalutara district. This issue of saltwater intrusion is a common problem in most of these water schemes. So we had to be, this is a serious lesson, but I don't think we should immediately, just because there was a flood problem, put the whole blame on the saltwater barriers that was put up. But I think there was also issue relating to other saltwater intrusion because of the flow or the right near the sea where the water flow. That is where this. I think we'll have to look at it, what the scientific issue problems are about. Then, then we have also seen, we started the, because of the problem to repay our international debt, the Kandy North Pathadumbra project, almost 95% complete. But a very small amount has to be paid in order to complete the project, which benefits Pathadumbra electorates, Haritpattu electorate, Yatinura electorate, many such electorates in the Kandy northern area. Almost, I think 400,000 connections could be given. Now, everything has been completed, only 5% needs to be finalized, but the Chinese Exim Bank has stayed the loan, and therefore the whole project is at a standstill. I think the Honourable Minister needs to talk to the ERD. Of course, this is beyond his control, where the government has to, there is a big problem with the Chinese external debt and the Paris Club and their negotiations, because they say, you have to have a equal treatment between the debt, between the creditors. So equal treatment issue, the President and the Finance Ministry is caught up in this whole mess. I hope they will get out of this situation soon, and these issues will be resolved and the remaining loan amount could be disbursed to finalize these projects. Similarly, I would like to also talk about, now it's time that I think our country is in a situation where we cannot make heavy public investment even on public utilities all the time. It's time we had to think about the PPP projects, public-private partnerships. The World Bank, ADB and others talked about the Valley-Vita project. Right? So that issue, everything was done, but of course our engineers in the water board were not very happy because they think that this is going to be totally privatized, right? But it is not to be totally privatized, but it is to be, it's a public-private partnership. We have to move towards that. We have to move towards attracting some private capital onto our new water supply schemes. Otherwise, it will take a long time with the type of problem they have got into. We may not be able to make such large public investments for massive treatment plants to supply water to our people. So similarly, we have several other problems. We have Rugam-Kitul issue in the Batiklo district. There was a plan to complete that reservoir both for irrigation and for water supply. In Batiklo district, the Rugam-Kitul project was proposed, but it had not come to total fruition. And we have had similar problems in the northern area towards Trincomalee. Also, Yarnoya is a problem. Pulmode area, the water quality, there is a serious issue. So we need to look at those issues and try to improve the water quality in those areas. Now, while talking about the water quality, now I am told that certain chemicals have been imported which have now, it's already expired. Past the expiry date, they are sending the chemicals to treatment plants. Now to Muthur, last week, they had sent a large amount of chemicals which are used, but the bags, see, they have already expired. So, when you are using the expired chemicals, various other complications can come up. But I do not know why they have sent only to the eastern province. Because they don't have laboratories to even test these chemicals. So those chemicals which have been already expired had now been imported and are being sent to some of these treatment plants. Please look into this, because I, in fact, checked with the DGM supplies in the morning. He gave me some explanation. I am told some unions are also up in arms about these issues, these purchases which have happened. We have had purchases in the health sector regarding expired drugs. We already have problems. But then if we are going to have expiry issues in chemicals that are being used for purification in our water treatment plants, that will create a further problem. You see? So therefore, I asked the minister, please clarify these issues regarding issue of expired chemicals to some of the treatment plants, despite certain protests within the water board and some of the trade unions. So these issues have been brought out. Similarly, like in the health sector, we should not be allowing any such thing to happen, if at all. This veracity has to be checked. This was brought to my notice only this morning. So I have been talking, but then the other issue is about the Heather project. Heather project is to benefit the people of the Pothuil area. Now Pothuil, as you know, Mr. Minister, is a fast developing tourism area because of the so-called windsurfing facilities, because that's one of the best windsurfing spots in the entire world. Therefore, we get large number of tourists coming to Pothuil, but there is a serious water shortage there. In order to settle the water shortage and also to irrigate almost 20,000 acres in that area and increase the paddy production, this project will be very, very helpful, and that we may try to implement the project in the past, but whenever that is being mooted, what happens is there is always a problem with the Siembalanduwa farmers and the Pothuil farmers. Right? There is protest saying that this water is going to be taken away, which should be retained for the people in the Siembalanduwa area. And these are unnecessary political issues, like how Kilinochchi farmers had protested against sending water to Jaffna. Now Siembalanduwa farmers are also taking up the same issue, but this is all misplaced fears. There is enough water for both the Siembalanduwa people and for Pothuil people. I think we must try and allay the fears of the farmers and the people in the coastal areas of the Pothuil district and try and implement that project. Because
Honourable Member, your time is almost over.
Yeah, yes, Mr. Speaker. Yeah. So I'm only trying to bring these matters to the notice of the Minister. And once again, may I congratulate the Minister.
You want some more time?
No.
No, I can give
my time is up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, right, okay. So, with those matters, I would like to also talk about the other issues, particularly now I think the Minister has to quickly look at issues pertaining to, I think I have mentioned to him before he took over the ministry. In fact, he asked me for some advice. So when the young minister came to me, I told him, for the plantation areas, right, it's very difficult for you to be finding state funding to give water supply, but the World Bank WASIP project is a very good opportunity. So WASIP project is now almost concluded, but they have given an additional 40 million, I am told. But then unfortunately, they have added Kurunagala and Gampaha districts also to that project. Whereas with a meager sum of 40 million, I do not know whether you will be able to utilize or divert all that money, because it's a World Bank project. World Bank is very proud of this project. I think I must congratulate the former project director, Mr. Engineer Ranatunga. He's, I think, one of the senior most engineers in the National Water Supply and Drainage Board. But unfortunately, this project, because it's a very unique project that they use different types of treatment trials. So there has been experimentation with different treatment trials through which even other countries could benefit, because we have found ways to inoculate and try and improve water quality without using very expensive treatment facilities. Because treatment plants are very expensive, but then cost-effective treatment facilities have been devised. අපේ වලපන මන්ත්‍රතුමාටත් මේක බලපානවා. ඒ පැත්තටත් මේක ඉතාම වැදගත් මේ යෝජනාවක්. මොකද මේ World Bank project එක WASIP project is a very good project. I think we have to, because that's sometimes when you look at the amount of money we are spending on treatment plants, you see, we have to look for some cost-effective new technologies. I think this project has allowed us to test various different methodologies, and it has been a success. And similarly, I think another neglected area is the community water supply department. Mr. Minister, I know you have a state minister handling that, the controversial minister who has now been banned from the house also for having his boisterous activities in the house. But that's, I'm not going to deal with that. But then, that department is a very important department. But of course, the water supply board, the National Water Supply and Drainage Board, has to give technical support. Without their technical support, I don't think the community water supply schemes can survive, because there is general support by the board, but I think we need to have very good, sustained advice being given to all the CBOs, community-based organizations who are running this මේ ප්‍රජාමූල සංවිධාන, මේ ව්‍යාපෘති නඩත්තු කිරීමේදී විශාල ප්‍රශ්න රාශියකට මුහුණ දෙනවා. ඒවට ටෙක්නිකල් සපෝට් විතරක් නෙවෙයි, ආම්පන්න, ඒ වගේම අවශ්‍ය treatment chemicals and all these things, they have lot of difficulties. Most of them are failing.
Maintenance.
Yeah, maintenance is the issue. This failure, if it is to be arrested, I think there has to be a better coordination between the National Water Supply Board and the Community Water Supply Department.
Also.
I hope the Honourable Minister will take this into account, and I wish the Minister all the success in the coming year in running this ministry. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable C.B. Ratnaik. Yes, Honourable Minister, is there anything to be explained?
Honourable Speaker, you can take this from my time, but I would just like to address a few of the serious concerns put forward by the Honourable Member. First of all, thank you for your kind words, but I'm even more in debt to you for the accusations, because it's given me a chance to clarify certain matters. So to begin with the GM post, once I had taken over as the Minister for Water Supply in January 2019, it was during my tenure the first female GM of the Water Board was appointed with complete powers. The board and the chairman, they were restricted within the Act, and there was a check and balance because I was micromanaging to that extent. And apart from that, Honourable Member, I would also like to just give a few updates. In terms, with regards to the pipes that you had mentioned that are in the harbour with, money which we haven't paid for, I would like to say on the third month of me becoming a minister, we started negotiations with the port, with CICT as well. And to be honest, these pipes were bought at the rate of 100 odd million rupees at that point of time. And eventually it came up to 1.2 billion just in demurrages. So we were able to negotiate a cut price on that. And right now all pipes have been taken out, they have been distributed, but there is one issue of laying the pipes which we are talking to those relevant local authorities, and we are confident we'll be able to execute that post the budget. And there's also one fact that was misrepresented. Over the past 70 years, it's not that we barely reached 50% of pipe water coverage. In fact, we've reached 60.4% from the water board alone. Apart from the water board, we are working with, like you said, the Department of Community Water. Close to 5,000 CBOs are working with us. That's roughly about 15%. So we have gone further, but totally 95% of the country's population have access to water. But I must admit, as the relevant subject minister, that there is an issue with the quality of water, and also the issue with local governments not being equipped to deal with this matter. So we are coming to a consensus on that. And Honourable Member, I would just like to remind you, since I am a young minister who is up and coming, I am learning the ropes. And in order, when I dealt with issues with the water sector, just a few months ago in Parliament, I had requested a meeting with all the former ministers of water under the chairmanship of the Prime Minister. But Honourable Member, you did not make it for that meeting. Had you come, we would have been able to come to a more wide consensus on the matter. Hopefully you'll be able to attend the next meeting. And apart from that, with relation to all the water projects that have stalled, including WASIP, Iranamadu, all these controversial issues, I will be including it in my statement at the end of my speech.